one of the hottest deserts on Earth. We are just next door to Death Valley. It's going to be the ultimate test for our scientists.
They don't know it yet, but this series is going to be all about space exploration. Over the next 6 weeks, our rough scientists are going to have to solve a series of challenges all about space, using nothing more than simple tools, some basic kit, and a whole heap of ingenuity. Mission control for the next 6 weeks is an old abandoned silver mine. It's going to be rough science on the final frontier. Our 5 scientists are Kathy Sykes, an irrepressible physicist who thrives in the face of adversity. Ian Stewart's our first rough science geologist and an eternal optimist. Ellen Macaulay is an intrepid botanist from Missouri with a never-say-die attitude. Mike Bullivant's our creative chemist who makes magic with everyday items. Jonathan Hare is a physicist, inventor, artist, a true Renaissance man. And then there's me, Kate Humble, here to lend a hand. Together, we are Rough Science.
This is going to be base camp for the next 6 weeks. It's an old abandoned mine. This is our workshop. Let's go and have a look at it.
This is it. This is your workshop. It's great, isn't it? Now, there is electricity in here, and basically you can use anything you like. So just go and explore.
All of it?
All of it. Go and take a look. So what do you think? Like it?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we've got to get down to business now. This area, as you've seen, is pretty alien and inhospitable, but it has given us the inspiration for this series, which is going to be all about space.
Oh, wow.
And there's a reason for that, because astronauts do come here to prepare for their missions, and NASA test all their latest kit here. And it's also going to be where we find out whether you can take on the might of NASA in their own backyard. So this week's challenges are all going to be based around space exploration. So, Jonathan, we'd like you to come up with a rough science rover. Not a dog. Well, if it barks, that's great. But basically, what we need is a remote-controlled vehicle that can perhaps get into sort of the trickier areas that we would find a little hard, OK?
OK.
So that's for you. And Ellen and Ian, one thing that everybody looks for in space is water, or evidence of water. We know it's the main ingredient of life. So what we'd like to do is for you to use your botanical and geological knowledge to try and find water.
In the desert?
In possibly one of the driest places on Earth, yes.
Let's hope it rains.
And that water that you find, Kathy and Mike, it'll be down to you to purify it so that it's good enough to drink, because frankly, in this heat, I think we're all going to need it.
And then we have to drink it?
Yes. So you have to do it right. You've got 3 days, as usual. You know that you can use everything in here. You've got the outlying area you can use, and, of course, what's in the magic trunk. As well as all the tools in the workshop, the trunk has a selection of extra things which the scientists may or may not find useful with this week's space challenges.
Oh, we could use that.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan's rover, Ian and Ellen's hunt for water, and Kathy and Mike's water purification.
Ooh, tin foil.
Yes!
We can't send Jonathan's rover to Mars to test it out, but NASA used the desert as a stand-in, so we're going to do the same. On day 3, the rover will face its ultimate challenge, here, when we subject it to a NASA-style experiment. Ellen and Ian's mission is to search for water in the desert. Our base is on the edge of Death Valley. It's one of the driest places on Earth. I think they're going to have their work cut out. I mean, given that it feels like about 120 degrees already, how are you going to find water?
Well, I think the landscape's going to give us some signs of where water is, and that's what I'm hunting for.
What sort of things? What sort of signs?
Well, it looks like some old river channels and things like that. Go hunting in there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be looking for plants. Plants can't grow without water. So plants, in particular plants, use more water, so the water table's got to be close to the surface.
Put your lives on the line here. How much do you think you're going to find?
Oh, I'm going for this. Look what we've got. This is positive.
I think we're in a desert and we're a little bit more realistic.
Assuming they find some water, Mike and Kathy have to devise a rough science way of purifying it so it's safe for drinking.
Well, I think it's going to be really important to boil the water for at least 10 minutes, because that'll get rid of all the biological stuff in there. So
Yeah.
any kind of bugs we'll get rid of. So I want to capture the sun's energy, make a solar cooker,
Oh, wow.
and boil it like that. But we'll still have some junk left in there, won't we?
Yeah, as well as the biological material. There are contaminants like pesticides, there are metals in there, there could be arsenic in there, you know, toxic.
Yeah.
Metal ions. But I've got a couple of ideas which we'll be working on for filtering all of those out.
OK, it has got to work, because at the end of this, it's not just going to be you two having a little sip of water and saying, oh, yes, Kate, it's delicious. We are going to be doing a blind taste test.
No, no way!
With drinking water. So, you know, there's no cheating involved.
So we've made things a little harder. As well as cleaning the water, they have to make it taste nice as well. But first we need some water from this parched desert. There are hundreds of square miles to cover, and we haven't given them a map.
Let's go this way.
Yeah, I'm going to have a wee look over here.
They're going to look for erosion features in the landscape, which suggest the presence of water.
There's things like this. It's kind of evidence of past running water that NASA used to try and look for water in places like Mars.
But is it getting them any closer to finding water in the desert? Back at base, Mike is starting work on a filter to remove impurities from the water.
Ooh, have you built this?
Yep, that's my oven.
I can't leave you alone for 2 minutes.
We're going to put the wood in.
Well, you're going to put the wood in here?
Yeah, because what we're going to make is a thing called activated charcoal. If you look at charcoal, a charcoal briquette, it's got lots of pores in it and cavities.
Yeah.
But activated charcoal has got even more pores and cavities in it. And that's what we filter the stuff through. It takes the impurities out.
So the wood is burnt for several hours with a restricted air supply. Activation comes later. Kathy's working on stage 2 of water purification. She's convinced all she needs is the power of the sun to boil the water.
Hey! Well, one wheel's going round. That's a good start.
So I've taken normal electric drills, you know, sort of 12-volt electric drills, and modified them. So we've got-
Jonathan them, haven't
yeah,
you?
definitely. So these are the front wheels, and they're both driven.
What's the next stage? What have you got to do with it now?
OK, so it's powered by these two motors. Now, if you speed up one wheel with respect to the other, it
Yeah.
will turn.
Of course.
So the rover has motors and steering, but to meet its ultimate challenge, a NASA-style experiment in the desert, it's going to need a remote control system. Outside, Mike's ready for the next stage in his water filter plan, turning the charcoal he's been making into activated charcoal.
That really does look like charcoal.
Now, I've taken the lid off.
Yeah.
And air is getting in there.
Yeah.
When I let air in, that will just flash into the pores, and that would dramatically increase the pore size and the number of pores.
And is that basically the activation process?
Yeah. A little bit of activated charcoal, like this, has a massive surface area.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably about 2 tennis courts.
No.
It's full of pores. That's the property we're going to use to filter out stuff from the water.
NASA use activated charcoal to filter water on the space shuttle. As well as removing impurities, it also makes water taste good. But at the end of the day, Ian and Ellen still haven't found any water at all. And Kathy's hit a snag with her solar cooker. Even though this is one of the hottest places on Earth, the sun's gone in. Jonathan's got his rover moving. Now he's working on the remote control.
That's an A, a B.
And I think it's going to be something rather special. day 2, and I've decided to join Ian and Ellen on their so far notably unsuccessful search for water.
Now this is a desert oasis. Hang on
a second. What do you mean a desert oasis?
None of these plants even grow typically in the desert. These are all plants that need and love water.
Does this mean there's going to be a pool up here?
No, but look at this, Kate. This is exactly what we've been looking for.
It's wet.
Yeah. There's water on top of the soil, and this is supposed to be a desert.
God, that really is wet.
It's not quite the oasis of the cartoons, but it's pretty good.
It looks like all Ellen and Ian...
That's great.
Ellen has to do is dig down, and they'll soon have bucket loads of water to bring back for Mike and Kathy to purify. In anticipation, Mike is grinding up activated charcoal to make his filter. But although the filter should remove impurities and make the water taste good, we still need to boil the water to get rid of bugs. So it's time to check up on Kathy's solar cooker. Since there's no sign of the water hunters yet, we've given Kathy some tap water to practice with. Time to see if the water's boiling.
So just stick it in the water.
Stick it in the water.
Going up to 45, 51, 54, 57, 58, 59.6, 60. Come on, come on.
Okay.
40 degrees off, Kathy.
Well, one last modification, hopefully with a kind of closer to midday sun.
Okay.
Maybe, but 40 degrees is a heck of a lot.
It is a lot.
Jonathan's got a nifty new rear wheel for his Rover, but that's not all. It's time to reveal his ingenious remote control system. It all seems to be based on a homemade musical instrument and a guitar tuner.
This is mission control.
It's fantastic.
So I've knocked up a little circuit from the bits that we had.
Yeah, this was the radio that's been pulled apart,
Yeah,
is it?
and this is the speaker.
Okay.
And if I press a button here, it makes a little tone.
Right.
Okay. Now, also in the trunk was this little device, which is just a little guitar tuner. Right. And when you tune it to the right note, one of these lights will come on.
Okay.
So if I put that on the speaker and press a note, the A light comes on.
Right.
Press another one of the other lights comes on. And that light will send a signal to the switches, which will control the motors.
So he's going to play a tune to tell the Rover what to do. Now that's what I call rough science.
Ooh, that's dry. You know something? Look at this. It's wet. It's the first top 6 to 8 inches that are wet.
Wherever they dig, it seems that all the moisture is trapped in a thin layer near the surface. Their hoped-for bonanza has failed to materialise. Time for some quick thinking.
Okay, you know what we could do here, though? This earth is obviously damp. We could build a solar still.
Okay.
Now, what that will take is putting plastic on top. The sun will heat up the air in there, which will evaporate the water out of the soil. It'll then condense on the plastic, roll down into our collection pot, and I think we'll get a decent amount of water that way.
And Ellen has one more trick up her sleeve. She's decided to wrap plastic sheet around a tree.
I never thought I'd be bagging a tree, I must confess.
She's hoping to use the same principle as the solar still to trap water that evaporates from the tree's leaves. It's called transpiration.
So what we're going to look for in the morning is a little puddle of water at this end.
So will I get my bucket filled tomorrow then?
I expect a good tablespoon.
Excellent.
It's the last throw of the dice for the water hunters. Day 3 and the moment of truth.
Okay, this is going to be, here, hold that. This is going to be the amount of water this tree transpired overnight. Look, 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 look.
Wow!
This is pretty good for
That's
overnight.
fantastic. So that is literally, is this sort of like tree sweat kind of thing?
Yeah, sort of.
Well, that's not bad. I don't think I'd like to drink it.
Well, that's Kathy and Mike.
Yeah,
They'll
that's
make it
their business. Okay, let's go and see how Ian's getting along.
The solar stills have also produced some water, but not that much. And even though this water has evaporated and therefore should be pure, it still looks pretty mucky. Perhaps the plastic wasn't very clean. So all we've got to give Kathy and Mike for purification is 2 small jars of water. One from the tree, one from the solar still. But then on the drive back, Ian spots something.
Stop. Hold it. What? Do you see over there? You see that line of humps that's vegetated? I think that's a fault under there. And I think what's happening is that the water's coming up in the fault, it's getting vegetated, and the sand is probably getting stuck against that. So if it's right, then we could have a look at there. I don't know.
So are you saying that if we dig around those humps,
yeah,
we're going to get water?
Well, that's a chance. I don't know. That's wet. That's wet sand.
Yeah, it's not water, though.
Yeah, but this is really quite permeable sand, so the water can get through between the sand grains. So if we're low enough...
Oh, no, hang on. OK, no, look, it's bubbling. It is bubbling down there.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's coming.
At last, Ian has his triumph.
After all that work yesterday, he makes it look so easy.
Look at that. Beautiful. I'm always tempted to drink it right now.
Now it's all down to the water purifiers. Mike's water filter seems to be working, so everything depends on Kathy's solar cooker. We have to boil that water to make it safe for the blind tasting session. Yesterday, she got to 60 degrees, 40 degrees short of boiling. Time to get the thermometer out again.
This plastic bag is nice and full of air, so it's got that greenhouse effect, so it's keeping the heat in.
Yeah.
It's almost been in the midday sun for quite a while now.
Okay.
And we've been moving it round just to make sure it's tracking the sun.
All right.
So, you ready to take temperature?
I'm ready to take temperature.
You've got to do it really quickly.
Yeah.
It's boiling!
It's boiling! It is boiling! It's bubbling! Kathy, I don't believe it's gone straight up to 90, 93, 94.5, 95.3, 95.8, 96.1. Yes!
There was definitely
And the
bubbles in the
bubbles.
bottom of that.
Yes!
Oh.
Good. I am so relieved.
And Jonathan is putting the finishing touches to his Mars rover with its ambitious sound control system. He's going to try and use walkie-talkies to transmit his musical tones to the rover. But does it work?
So we've got 4 notes. Makes the rover go forward.
Yeah.
The second one makes it go forward and go left. The third one makes it go forward and go right. And the last one makes it go backwards.
Genius.
So we've got all the controls, hopefully, to make it move.
It's almost time for the blind tasting session. We have 3 samples of water. 1 from Ellen's tree, 1 from the solar still, and 1 from Ian's rather mucky spring. Each sample is filtered and boiled separately. If Kathy and Mike have succeeded, this should make the 3 samples indistinguishable from a 4th sample, pure drinking water.
OK, who's thirsty?
Not me.
No way. So we're going to do a blind taste test. And to know that you 2 have been an unqualified success, you need to fool our guinea pig. If that guinea pig doesn't pick out the drinking water, you've done well. Now, the guinea pig's name is Ian.
Oh, no.
See you in court.
Thanks, guys. I'm so choked up here.
OK, I'm going to put a glass in your
You're all going
hand.
to disappear off, aren't you?
This is sample A.
OK.
There's the glass.
OK. It's quite warm. It's got a little taste, but that's OK. That's drinkable.
This is sample B.
OK.
Just spit.
No, that's fine. But let's not have another one of that.
OK. Sample C coming up.
That was salty, that one. OK, that's like the first one, actually.
OK, so it's
It's
between
fine.
A and C at the moment. And the final one. There we go. This is sample D.
That's not so nice.
OK, so
not so
between
nice.
A and C, do you want to have a retaste?
Yeah, please.
After one final comparison, Ian makes his choice.
OK, I'm going to go with A.
Right, are we ready?
Uh-huh.
Sample A. Solar still.
Oh, that's right.
And sample C was indeed the drinking water.
Ah.
Which leaves Jonathan with the final challenge of the day. No pressure.
I'm feeling a bit pressure, actually.
NASA test their Mars rovers in Death Valley, so we're going to replicate one of their tests in the most Martian-looking piece of desert we can find. It's going to be the ultimate test for our rough science rover. Well, here it is, the finished rover, with one added little detail. This is a camera mounted on here, and this is going to work like the rover's eye, so that Jonathan is going to be able to see what the rover is seeing. So the team gather at Mission Control, just over the hill and out of sight of the rover. They'll be following its progress on a monitor as Jonathan attempts to control it with musical tones sent by walkie-talkie.
OK, we go forward. Can you see anything? Is that... OK.
Wait,
Yeah,
go.
Oh my gosh, it's moving!
Which way, though, people? I don't know which way to go.
There's something there. Look, look, look.
Okay. Here we go. Look at this.
A flag!
Yes. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. That's moving. Beautiful.
Oh, what's that?
Is it water?
So
Just
the
water.
rover has found water. Yay!
It's just a load of balloons dancing around.
Don't you
They're
think that
right.
could give you a hint? Balloons, a flag.
Finish line.
Again.
Finishing
Nearly there! Come on, Jonathan! Come on! Almost there! That's all for this week's Rough Science. Join us next time for more challenges.
Next time, Jonathan and Kathy see the light with a space-age walkie-talkie. Mike and Ellen turn their world upside down to take on a $2 million NASA challenge, and Ian attempts to communicate with aliens.